We all know that God created this earth. It took him 6 days, and I can only imagine that it was extremely hard work. But what we got is fantastic. We are blessed with beautiful skies, seas, landscapes. They are wonders of the world. We are surrounded by some truly magnificent animals. Oh, and some squawky stuff too. As a way to contract out labour, along came man. And as we know, men are always in a rush to solve problems. In 2009, 3 like-minded Icelandic gentlemen got together to do just that. After hours upon hours of self-sacrifice, the light of truth finally shone through. Of course, that's why God made barley. Welcome back to Adventure Now in Reykjavik, and the Eimverk Distillery in particular, the home of Iceland's very own single malt whisky, Floki. This distillery really was founded when 3 Icelandic guys got together, got drunk, and decided to make whisky. I prefer the art of drinking over the art of making, but our guide did tell us that this machine here is responsible for selecting the best quality distilled alcohol from the fermented mash. There are heads, tails, and the heart being the best part. Differentiating between these parts is known as calling the shots, and it is this very process that gave birth to that expression. There was me thinking it was something to do with being a boss or maybe a wartime manoeuvre, but all along it was far more noble than that. It's about making booze. My name is Mark, but that's just my ego, and it keeps me separate, so I go, not we go. It likes to stop me from showing my colours, and it keeps me in fear, separate from others. But I know the truth because I've joined the dots. We're not separate, we're one, and love calls the shots. We worked our way through the selection, and the drinking was good. There are several varieties of hard liquor distilled here, from gins to whiskies too young to be called whisky, to some older malts. But I have to say that my favourite was the smoky variety. I love the peat-smoked whiskies of the west coast of Scotland, so I guess it's no surprise that I would favour the smoky Icelandic version too. The main difference is that here the barley is smoked using sheep dung and not peat, but it does taste good. So thank you very much, Brynjark, for the invite to the whisky tasting and for ferrying us around in such style. It was great to meet you. We hope to see you again. We've dragged our asses out of bed at 7:30 today. We've been pretty busy for the last couple of days in Reykjavik, with a very important day yesterday, the tour around the distillery, which was awesome. And it looks like it's going to rain later, so we thought we'd jump out of bed and have a look around town before that happens. But we've actually just put the washing on as well, taking advantage of the shower and laundry facilities here at the Brynjark Yacht Club pontoon, where there's a cool boat on the end, some lovely old wooden boats, and also some old Clipper 68 race yachts. So it's all happening here. Yeah, I know, my deep voice gives away the fact that I enjoyed myself a little too much yesterday. And heading into a city is not what I would normally consider to be a very good hangover cure. But Reykjavik isn't exactly hectic as far as cities go, and on this Sunday morning, it was actually very peaceful. Designed to resemble the basalt rock formations around Iceland, the Harpa concert hall is an impressive looking building. On a windy day, you can stand here and listen to this sculpture, and apparently the wind can play a better tune than I can. With a latitude of 64 degrees north, Reykjavik is the world's most northern capital of a sovereign state. Now, I don't really profess to know exactly what that means, because I just looked on Wikipedia, and if Wikipedia says it's true, well, it must be, mustn't it? My knowledge was limited to the important things of the day. Nice people, no cocks, and an abundance of good food and fine sugary products to help me through my hangover. I've nailed my colours to the mast previously about my favourite capital city being Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands, and I stand by that. It's possible I may have just found my second most favourite capital city in the world of the ones I've visited, and that's Reykjavik. I think there are 362,000 people living in Iceland, but this capital city is absolutely lovely. It's got a really nice feel about it. We did walk through when it was quite busy, and also we walked through on the Armageddon that is early Sunday morning after everyone's got pissed and then gone home and gone to sleep, and we've witnessed a big clean-up. But it's fantastic, very arty. I don't know anything about arts, but I know what I like to look at, and there's a lot of nice stuff to look at here. We've just come down to the harbour, and interestingly enough to a sad geek like me, there's a powerboat over there made by Fairline, and there's a yacht behind me made by Oyster, which are both made in the River Orwell in Suffolk. So there you are. Good quality boats have made their way up to Iceland, as well of course as Altor. Nothing like chilling out on a Sunday afternoon, sitting in Reykjavik thinking what should we do, and then we thought, why don't we go? We had a lovely time there and we kind of saw what we wanted to see, and there's not a lot of wind and we got a chance to move along the coast past the volcanoes and perhaps round the corner. So we thought, why not go? It's also good because Asher starts work tomorrow, so we have to work around that. So suddenly the stars aligned and we're off. So Reykjavik, see you again. Reykjavik is an incredible contrast when you've sailed down from the sparsely populated western fjords, but it's certainly a cool capital city to visit. Very uneventful journey round from Reykjavik, so we didn't really film too much. But what we are filming now is what we can't see, because we're back in the dark. First time since we came up from Essex, I think, actually. And it feels quite perturbing, but it's very nice here. We've got a good green leading line showing us the way in, and I think we'll have some room around here to get the fenders sorted out. We're just coming in past the huge stone walls here. And this is a fishing harbour, so hopefully we'll find a space on a pontoon. If not, we'll try and go alongside a friendly fisherman. Just approaching the second breakwaters, the inner breakwaters here. Can only imagine this must be a beastly harbour to come in if there's a big southerly gale. I don't think you'd want to come anywhere near it. But nice and calm tonight, which is great. Just saying to Asher to be very careful because it just feels strange being in the dark again. We'll find our way though. And somewhere ahead and slightly to starboard I think there should be some pontoons, and that's where we're going. We called the harbour master this morning at 8:30. We had a bit of a lay-in, and he rocked up with a key for us and told us we could stay, we could plug in, there is no charge, so we were made to feel very welcome. And this place by day is pretty cool. It's a one-hoss town, as my dad would have said. There's not much going on here, but for us on our way through, this is a lovely place to be, and we're on the south coast of Iceland, so I guess it's a bit of a milestone. We are very lucky to be able to say that we see so much scenery passing our eyeballs that it's difficult to keep up. Arriving on the south coast of Iceland is indeed a milestone, because this is the last Icelandic coastline that we will explore on this year's adventure. And whilst there are plenty of stories that Iceland has to tell, this place has stories and evidence of those stories that will affect any mariner deeply. We go to sea for the sheer thrill and fun of it, and aren't we lucky to do so. But there are men and women who go to sea not just for themselves, but for the needs of others. The sea is a great provider, and our draw to be upon her is inexplicable, but she can also be an extremely powerful, cruel and ruthless mistress.
According to the placard, this ship was wrecked in February 1988, but all 11 sailors were saved by the Icelandic Coast Guard. What blows my ptashi mózg is how this hulk of metal ended up here while the ship was wrecked on the beach.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it? I mean, the wreck site was definitely a few hundred yards away from here, so God only knows how it ended up here. Incorrect, Mark. It's not only God who knows what happened here. The evidence is all around. These huge, heavy lumps of steel, they're no match for the sea when she changes from her serene beauty into a powerful, cruel, and ruthless mistress. Sometimes she smiles when you pass. Sometimes she gives you a kick. Sometimes she chews you up and spits you out. But sometimes she swallows you forever. Twisted steel and broken bones tell a simple story. So close, and yet so far. It's fascinating, but also very sad seeing the shipwrecks here. It's quite literally a ship and crew graveyard. The entire south coast of Iceland is incredibly exposed, rugged, and very inhospitable. This port here is one of only a couple that are along the south coast, and I said to Asher last night when we were coming in that it would be terrifying to approach this in a southerly gale with massive rollers crashing in after you. There are some pictures up in the town of some trawlers coming in those very conditions, and it is those conditions that saw off the ships that have been thrown up onto the rocks here. All I can say is that the captain and crew must have had balls of steel, although unfortunately those big balls didn't always get them in safely. You may well ask why they risk it, but everyone's got to eat, and it's not always as easy as going to Tesco. I've been a bit nervous about the passage to the Westman Islands, and I think that's because we've been coastal hopping for the last 5 weeks, so we're actually heading offshore. Not far, but I think the other thing is that we're going to be sailing into the night, and we haven't done a night sail for quite some time. So I'll be quite happy when that's behind us, but we've got 17 to 20 knots, and we are doing 5.5 knots. It's nice and calm, so there's nothing really to be nervous about. I'm just going to try and sit back and enjoy it. As we started to bear away from the coast of Iceland, the wind moved further aft, so we needed to help it to help us. It was time to get the pole up.
If I had to do it myself, we would still be plodding along at 4 knots. How was the balancing exercise for today?
Yeah, it's okay. I think I need to make a couple of improvements in the winter. We don't really have any way to stop the pole from dropping on the track on the mast, so there are a couple of cleats there, but they don't work, so we're going to have to put a jamming block in there, I think, in the winter, because we like sailing like this downwind, don't we?
Yeah, we have to add it to the winter job list. So
oh yes,
I was just saying that if I had to pole out the jib, we would be still going at 4 knots for the rest of the way.
You get there. There's a bit of shouting and screaming, and that's just you. Right, should we roll this out?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a beauty.
Just sailing into the fading light and away from the setting sun, and the AIS alarm just went off. We've got a rather large container ship bearing down on us. I was going to call the bridge and say hello and check that he'd seen us, but just before I did that I saw him change his course, and now he's going to go past us at probably 500 metres or so, which is close enough for my liking, but it was nice to see him change his course, that's for sure. Okay, so I wasn't that keen on the prospect of night sailing again, but already I've been reminded that it's a pretty special time. We've got a lovely golden sunset behind us and a blood red moon coming up in front. It's pretty awesome to see.
I went to get my rest at 9 p.m. and normally I wouldn't be able to fall asleep so early, especially not when we are in motion, but we are cruising so gently. Goose winging is just so beautiful that I fell asleep and I slept really soundly. But now I'm up, took over the watch from Mark, and although I missed the sunset, I have a beautifully moonlit night sky. It's just gorgeous.
said to us that the Western Islands are very, very special. And I was thinking, well, I'm sure they are, but we see many special places. But I have to say, seeing these loom up on the horizon was pretty cool. And the closer you get, the more spectacular they get. And here we are. It's been a long time coming this. I've been thinking about coming to this harbour for several years. And here we are, making our approach between the volcanic rock. It's pretty incredible. There is a big festival here on the first weekend of August, which is the weekend coming up. And they're expecting 15,000 people here. And that's on top, I believe, of the 4,500 people who live here. So hopefully we are a few days ahead of that, so we shouldn't have any problem getting a berth. But this harbour's pretty interesting because I think it was in 1973 when the last volcanic eruption nearly shut the harbour off completely. So we're looking forward to looking around this very, very bizarre place.
Altor down, Herjólfur.
Well, just as I was saying, it's a very narrow entrance because of the eruption that nearly closed it. So this vessel coming out just called us on 16 to tell us he was coming out, and I told him we'd stay on his green side, and he responded by saying, yes, okay, I'll go to the north of you. So I didn't really want to get caught under the rocky headland there. I thought this was the best place, and he didn't balk at that idea, so I assumed that meant he agreed. Here he comes now.
To this day, I have no idea why someone would paint a cock on the side of this ship.
Tight as a duck's arse springs to mind.
Dad, can you see all the lava rocks all around this side of the harbour, so it's clear where the volcanic eruption happened.
Yeah, you can see how it's kind of tumbled down and nearly shut the gap.
We spend a lot of time pointing a camera at lovely things, but sometimes things creep up on you and really take you by surprise. And this landmass is certainly one such thing. What a place. In a world where our freedom seems to be challenged, the sea still allows just that. Total freedom. Freedom to explore. Freedom to take your own safety into your own hands. Freedom to succeed. Freedom to fail. It's risk versus reward, and this sailing life certainly makes you realise that the risks associated with Mother Nature are always there, but the rewards of rubbing shoulders alongside her are immense. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Adventure Now. Until the next time, Altor out.
A town anywhere in the world is not a town without an Irish pub, and there it is.
But an Irish pub called it the Drunk Rabbit, not Paddy O'Reilly? Come on. Jesus Christ, Mary and Joseph.
You know. Hence and hither and thither. That's easy for you to say.
Are you okay, mate? Don't worry. We have Sunday. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to do anything. Cheer up, Charlie.
I don't think he will. He had a tough Saturday night. Someone chopped his cock off.